If you're just tuning in, welcome to the Transcultura Caribbean Jazz Connection virtual concert. Throughout the Caribbean, there are institutions that provide spaces where accomplished musicians can connect with younger generations to share their experiences. These exchanges help established musicians nurture local talent and encourage young musicians. In Jamaica, Dr. Orville Hammond is doing just that. Orville Hammond heads the Department of Performance Studies at the School of Music, Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts in Kingston. He also coordinates the Jazz Studies Contemporary Music program, teaches jazz piano and improvisation. Hammond's music reveals varied stylistic influences and an affinity for his Caribbean roots. His multi-dimensional ability is undeniable. He's performed with artists across the musical spectrum, including Tony Bennett, Gary Burton, Branford Marsalis, Jimmy Cliff, Hermeto Pascual, and Kenny Wheeler. Hammond's performances have been acclaimed in the United States, Brazil, Spain, Jamaica, Morocco, and at the Montreux and Ocho Rios jazz festivals. Tonight, we'll be learning a thing or two about Caribbean jazz from Dr. Orville Hammond. Accompanied by his students and performing Redemption Song, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Dr. Orville Hammond. Such an interesting take on a Bob Marley classic. So of course we've got questions for Dr. Hammond. Dr. Hammond, as a pro musician and a jazz music teacher, how do you succeed in inspiring your students to use their own unique Caribbean musical culture and fuse it with jazz?
To my mind, jazz music means improvisation. That being a given, then it depends on what your music is. You know, is it primarily vocal? Is it instrumental? Is it a mixture of both? And with the jazz language is of a very high standard. The world seen just remarkable proliferation of amazing young talent, and they're drawing from all sources, their own, native tongue, wherever that might come from. But there are also examples of Caribbean musicians who have exported their music to worldwide audience. Monty Alexander is an example of a Jamaican musician who has shared his music with the world. And he has a broad range. His Caribbean music, and particularly his Caribbean jazz-influenced music, is remarkable. So these are examples for a young Jamaican player to look to and to emulate. So that would be my first advice. It helps to study, and not necessarily within the walls of academia, but study the music. You listen. It's very useful to read what the musicians you admire think, how they think about their music. Typically, much of Jamaican music, with its great rhythms and beautiful songs, are largely vocal. And I think, developing one's instrumental technique, whether it's, on the saxophone, the flute, the trumpet, or the piano or keyboard, is paramount to having your music become identified as a hybrid, this underlying Caribbean rhythms with jazz overtones.
So interesting. Thank you, Dr. Hammond. If you're tuning in, welcome back to the Transcultura Caribbean Jazz Connection virtual concert. So far, we've made quite a few stops around the Caribbean jazz world, visiting Trinidad and Tobago, Belize, Cuba, Dominica, and Jamaica, and we've got more musical destinations on our program for you. Now, let's go back to the stage for Dr. Orville Hammond's next musical performance. Let's tune in for Summertime.
Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your ma is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings you're gonna rise up singing. Then you spread your little wings and you take to the sky. Oh, but till that morning, there ain't nothing can harm you. With daddy and mommy standing by. Little baby, don't you cry. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Don't cry. Hush, little baby, don't you cry.
You're watching the Caribbean Jazz Connection virtual concert, a Transcultura program initiative.
Oof, Jamaica giving us life tonight. How about we stay here a while? I'm game. And now I'm happy to present next on our list the youngest artist on tonight's performance roster, Joe Davis. Joseph Davis is a Jamaican award-winning multi-instrumentalist musician, and just at 18 years of age, the boy's already got perfect pitch. Joseph plays a variety of instruments, including but not limited to piano, bass, drums, djembe, and guitar. Joseph is the first person in Jamaica to ever achieve a distinction at the Royal Schools of Music Diploma exam. He just graduated from the Idlewild Arts Academy in California with a major in jazz piano and a minor in songwriting. Joe was a part of the lineup of the 2021 Jamaica Jazz and Blues Online Festival, and he will be attending the Berklee College of Music as a contemporary writing and production major in September of 2021. Something else you should know about Joe, he has something called chromesthesia. Do you know what that is? I mean, I had to look it up. So get this. Chromesthesia, or sound to color synesthesia, is a type of synesthesia in which sound involuntarily evokes an experience of color, shape, and movement. Now there's a talent. Now if only we could experience music through Joe's senses. Performing a Brazilian love affair on our virtual stage tonight, please welcome the talented Joe Davis. right, Joe just bringing life to this stage tonight. Our first question for Joe tonight. So Joe, as a young Caribbean jazz musician, what do you hope your contribution can be to this music? And how can social media contribute?
I'm a musician who enjoys dabbling in mixing genres and fusing genres with other genres, and I've been doing so on my social media platforms for the past, give or take, 2.5 years. And during my time doing this, I've come to realize that people tend to classify jazz as just the straight-ahead old-school jazz, for example, Louis Armstrong, Miles Davis, and John Coltrane. But jazz is so much more than that, and I feel like it has definitely evolved since then, with people such as Jacob Collier and Masego and Charlie Puth and Snarky Puppy fusing all of these different genres with jazz. We've seen an emergence of hip-hop, an emergence of R&B, neo-soul, rap, EDM, electronic music, and so forth and so on, and people are now starting to fuse these genres with jazz. And so I feel like through social media, I am able to do my part in pioneering this movement. People who are following me are able to yearn for more content from me, and creators just like myself on social media platforms such as Instagram and YouTube and so on and so forth. I feel like through us, we're able to influence a wider audience, and we're able to make an impact on the world today and to show the world that jazz isn't just that old school swing jazz. And that is a very, very, very important part. You need to know the roots. You need to know the history of jazz to be able to be a jazz musician. But I feel like me and the people like me on social media are going to bring this one step further and influence the world.
Joe Davis just bringing that funk to the stage tonight. Now, in this International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development, a concert like this one proves that despite the many challenges coming from the ongoing pandemic and the threat of natural disasters, there is still a promising space that is open to young jazz musicians in the region. In this context, we've asked some of our musicians whether or not they believe there are possibilities for the coming generations to export its music. Let's hear what they have to say.
I do feel like there are opportunities for people of my generation to export our music. However, it's definitely limited as of currently. And I want to be able to bring this to a next level and be able to give people the outlets that they would like so that they can broaden their passion and so that they can bring their music to the world today. A long-term project of mine that I want to start is a Jamaican High School of the Arts, because they do have the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, but that's on the college level. But we need something at the secondary level so that we can introduce the young people, because there are so many talented people in Jamaica, but they just aren't given the opportunity to get the exposure that they need to thrive in the music industry today. So that's something that I definitely want to do, and I feel like that's definitely going to bring a lot of media attention to Jamaica as well as a whole, because people know Jamaica as the home of reggae and the home of dancehall, but Jamaica is also so much more than that. Jamaica is home to so many neo-soul artists, so many R&B artists. It's not just dancehall and reggae. And so I feel like I'm able to show that in some of the content that I make, and I really want to show the young people that you can follow your dream if you want to, and whatever you put your mind to, you can do it.
The pandemic has really done a number on us, hasn't it? I have seen more online presentations, classes, instruction in improvisation, and all manner of aspects of music that we don't always see, and it's this growth in that environment is largely due to the pandemic. Caribbean, jazz musicians will be well served to explore the online environment. There's technology that's still not quite perfected that enables musicians to play while they're thousands of miles apart, play together. That will get better and better. And it's a way of sharing your music. So if you spend time discussing your music, talking about it, sharing it, that's another way to get the word out about what you do with your music.
First of all, the region benefits for a higher level of general and music education. And at the same time, there is availability of technology at all levels. And to give examples, I came across some young jazz musicians who were able to produce their own video clip and distribute regionally without a promoter, without having major capital expenditures. So on that regard, I would say that the advantage of jazz is that the training is much more complex than the majority of the more popular music like soca or dancehall, and that allows the jazz musicians to have more flexibility, to have a more wide range of performing skills. So I really am very positive about jazz education, jazz musicians in the Caribbean, they can export their product, they can export their creativity.
I think jazz affords us the opportunity to combine the indigenous rhythms and music of our region, whether it be reggae, calypso, punta, Brockdown, Garifuna music. It gives us this chance to create something unique, because jazz allows creativity, it opens the possibilities, and it gives you a chance to really reach a wider audience. At the same time, you still hold on to the roots that is innately Caribbean, but jazz opens these possibilities and creates color, adds color to the music. That's something that can't be done with most other genres.
If you're just tuning in, we're heading towards our final performances for the night. We're live with the Transcultura Caribbean Jazz Connection virtual concert. Now, don't forget, you can always watch this live broadcast again with friends and family and help us spread the word about the Caribbean's vibrant jazz scene by liking, commenting, and sharing this broadcast. So to end our Caribbean jazz cruise, let's make one last stop to St. Lucia and meet the popular Teddyson John. He has a special guest with him tonight, Richard Payne from the St. Lucia School of Music. Teddyson John, aka TJ, is a vocalist, drummer, keyboardist, and percussionist, and simply a musical powerhouse. Born in St. Lucia, Teddyson John is considered one of the most consistent and versatile soca music artists, delivering hit after hit. TJ first became a household name with the 2015 release of his hit single, Ale, which took over the carnival circuit and still remains popular till this day. The first St. Lucian soca artist to achieve 1 million views on YouTube, propulsing him onto the international soca stage. He is an award-winning vocalist, a multi-talented musician, and on the stage with him tonight is Richard Payne, a pianist, composer, and bandleader from St. Lucia. Richard Payne has collaborated with renowned musicians such as John Legend, Richard Bona, Hugh Masekela, Kenny G, Monty Alexander, Kenny Garrett, and Sheila E., among others. He's also performed on festival stages all over the world. He leads the regional Caribbean jazz ensembles Blue Mango and Alibi. Richard is currently the executive director of the St. Lucia School of Music. Our musical journey is almost at its end, but we couldn't let you go without this last tribute to Caribbean jazz. Let's join Teddyson John and Richard Payne on the stage for the last set of the night.
You are the best of the best, baby. Oh, baby, you got that original smile. Spot you anywhere from a mile, baby. Looking in your profile, no spam, no back database, baby. With Anna alluring, a full of vine, never boring. Flawless to the flooring. Ooh, and you give me a new meaning to life, to life. And baby girl, you're the best part of my life, and I don't want to change your mood. Ain't nothing on you, and you got nothing to prove. You are mine. Of the best, baby. Oh, oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Baby, baby girl, be you. They got nothing on you. Oh, 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 oh. Baby girl, be you. Got nothing on you. Oh, oh, oh. Saki on your blade, nothing on you. Oh, 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 oh. Baby, really, you, they got nothing on you. Oh, 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 Richie, won't you play the nothing on you. Oh, 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 oh. Baby girl, they got nothing on you. Oh, 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 oh. Baby girl, they got nothing on you. Oh, 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 oh. Baby girl, they got nothing on you. Oh, 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 oh. You are the best of the best, baby. Yeah. Oh, child. You are the best of the best, baby. Oh, oh no. Oh, 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 oh. You are the best of the best, baby. The best baby, oh. Y'all ready to help me sing? Hey, oh. You are the best and the best and the best. You are the best and the best and the best. You are the best and the best and the best. You are the best and the best and the best. You are the best and the best and the best. You are the best and the best and the best. You are the best and the best and the best. You are the best and the best and the best.
Wow, Tedison John and Richard Payne, everyone. Such a great chemistry on stage. Their longtime collaboration prompted us to let them lead their own interview session. Let's watch as these old friends discuss.
Hey, it's yours truly, Tedison John, alongside
Richard Payne, pianist, band leader, and director of the St. Lucia School of Music.
We had a good time tonight.
Yeah,
Richard, you had a good time?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Richard, for those of you who didn't know, before I got into soca music, I was exposed to a lot of jazz music and on the French side. So groups like Sojourn before it became Blue Mango and Alibi. Richard has been, you know, the one that's over me and making sure, you know, he teaches. So that's my big brother, you understand, in music. So tonight it was a amazing feeling to share the stage, you know, with him and just being a part of the whole vibe, man. We had an amazing time.
Yeah, Teddy, I'm always honored to play with you.
Thank you,
I'm
my brother.
always honored and amazed at your trajectory.
Thank you.
The sky is the limit for you as well too. And I feel particularly pleased that you are bringing your jazz vocabulary into the soca realm, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. I think you opened up my ear to that kind of vibe, so that's why we're able to mesh and you know put and have the influence of the jazz and something like that.
But don't give me all the credit. You know, you are super talented, Teddy, and I'm really honored to kind of play with you. In fact, Teddy, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
I mean, as a soca artist, St. Lucian soca artist who had, 1 million YouTube views on social media. I mean, do you think social media is the next step?
I think it's much easier to be noticed with social media. It's at the tip of your fingers. Before you needed a lot of different elements of distribution where people didn't know. You probably needed a whole company to get certain things for you. But if you have a following, you understand, of people with you, you have, let's say you have 1 million followers on Instagram or Facebook, by anything that you put out there, they automatically going to see it. So you have like a direct to consumer sort of vibe, with social media. So I think we have to get, up on our social media game. I may not get it all the time, but, that's something that you have to be on top of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, considering a population of St. Lucia is 175,000, you have 1 million hits. So, I mean, you're really expanding your reach in terms of the soca realm.
Yes. And to see if we could go into different stages, but with the same music. So to have soca music with our interpretation, which is called Caribbean Moscato, a shameless plug. Make sure you get the album now. It's everywhere. Get the album and stream the album, Caribbean Moscato. We have a lot of songs that you may know or may not know, but we did a totally different version and a different vibe of it. That's what you got here, tonight. So it's what we do. It's just a privilege to mix the jazz and the soca together.
Indeed.
Yeah, man. Richie, as the School of Music director, a lot of people come through here. How did it feel to be amongst, people here, your students or people that is influenced by the School of Music?
Well, I mean, I think it's an absolute honor, Teddy. I mean, I think really and truly that many of the students here, many of the performers here this evening have had some relationship with the school. And I think the legacy in terms of its contribution towards music education, particularly in terms of jazz and so forth, I think it's really encouraging. I think that, young people like Daniel and Curvis are not only music educators now, former music students, they're music educators and mentors. And in my view, this is the next step. You are taking it to the next level.
Thank you.
And I feel very honored to have performed with you. I had tremendous fun performing with you, as always.
I appreciate it.
So yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Richie, so is there a term called Caribbean jazz?
I think there is definitely a genre.
A genre called Caribbean jazz. And how you think it can be more marketable, more exportable?
I think the Caribbean, it's a rightful place in terms of the legacy and the origins of jazz, right? Okay. The Caribbean is, in my view, is firmly rooted through the whole after-slavery sort of scenario, through New Orleans. I mean, I think there is a rich tradition. I believe the Caribbean has its place in terms of the origins of jazz. I think Caribbean jazz can be more exportable, as I say, through collaborations. I think more collaborations between the English and French and Dutch and Spanish-speaking Caribbean. I think, in my view, the Caribbean is one of the richest places in the world, per capita, in terms of the sheer volume of music and beautiful music and a rich, diverse culture.
Nice.
And I think that collaborations are the answer, really. And I think generations like yours and others are well positioned, particularly in terms of using social media to make those things happen through those collaborations. So I think too often music from other parts of the Caribbean like best kept secrets, right? What's happening in Haiti, what's happening in Martinique, what's happening in Guadeloupe, what's happening in Aruba, what's happening in Trinidad, what's happening in Belize, right? So the narrative of that, I think we have, it's important, it's incumbent on us to discover the riches in our region first, And then once we do so, and we collaborate, I think this will be a genre that will be firmly entrenched in terms of a force to be reckoned with in the world.
Nice. Well, speaking of collaborations, it was a beautiful collaboration tonight.
Absolutely.
And mixing our, soca genre with the French, the jazz, and what we do. So I want to thank you again for being a part of the vibe, always been my big brother. You understand, and your advice, and thank you for everything. So Tedison John signing out alongside.
Richard Payne signing out.
All right. We got. Yeah.
What a fun duo. Let's get them right back on that stage for the last piece of the night, the last performance by Tedison John and Richard Payne performing Allez.
The next one that we're gonna do, Richie, I really think they don't know this one. You think they know that one? Nah, you think that, Daniel, you think they know that one? Nah? Rochelle, you think we can bet some money they don't? Well, we'll figure it out. Okay, we're gonna have some fun. From St. Lucia to the rest of the world. Hey. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Y'all ready? I woke up this morning and I feel it nice. But the path that I chose, I'm fifth battles to find. As long as I'm living, my future is shaping. I know where I am headed. Got no time for problems. Hold the weight on your shoulders. Put your problems behind you. If you fall down, just get up and get your head out the dirt. And when they trying to undermine you, and they talking behind you, don't mean nothing but you. Throw your hands in the air, everybody. Time to get up and to move it. Leaving all your problems behind it. We're pressing on to our victory. Oh, everybody sing yeah. Step forward, oh my, yeah. Step forward, move forward, step forward. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, let me jam with you. All night, pump it up, oh, it up, everybody, time to get up and to move it. Leaving all your problems behind. We pressing on to our victory. And everybody sing, oh yeah. Oh my, yeah. Oh my, yeah. Oh my, yeah.
And so our show comes to an end. We hate to see you go, but what a night. We hope you enjoyed connecting with the vibrant Caribbean jazz scene and hope you'll continue to follow all of tonight's musicians as they evolve. As you can see, jazz is alive and well in the Caribbean. Now, we couldn't let you go without thanking some very special people. Shout out to all the Caribbean bands that performed tonight, from Belize, Barbados, Dominica, Jamaica, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago. Special thanks to the Transcultura and UNESCO teams in Havana, Kingston, and Port-au-Prince. A special shout out to the Asu Rooftop Lounge at the wonderful Caribe Hotel here in Port-au-Prince and its awesome welcoming team who've been taking care of us all night. Shout out to the Graph City team behind this production, to Yves Renal from St. Lucia and the Haiti Jazz Foundation who produced this beautiful online concert. I'm Fabiola Coupet. I couldn't have been happy to share this wonderful moment with you. I hope you've enjoyed the music. Follow all our band members. Caribbean Jazz is alive, and next time you gotta get on a flight to experience it. See you all soon. Much, much love from Haiti.
Everybody